If we did not shorten the last days, that no flesh would be saved. That's a powerful statement when you really think about it. That no flesh would be saved tells you that it is going to be one heck of a ride. And for so many people, they have held out until the rapture comes and, oh, Jesus is going to rapture us away and we won't have to deal with the tribulation when it comes. Well, I would like you to point out, aside from Enoch and the Elijah or Elisha, one time that God stole his people away from a bad situation. It's not who he is. What he does is he walks you through the situation so that you can make it to the other side. Now, there have been many times that he has told his people it's time to pack up and it's time to go. And some listened and some didn't. But the beauty of what God does is this. He forewarns you. One of the other things that Jesus said is this. How many of you, who of you don't pay attention to the signs? Who of you sees a southern wind and says, oh, it's going to be hot today? That's paying attention to the things that are going on around you, to understanding what is coming based off of what you are seeing happen around you. If you feel a northerly wind, that means a wind coming out of the north, you know it's going to be cold. If it's coming up from the south, then you know it's warm. There are always signs that warn you when trouble is coming. The real question is, do you listen to those signs when you see them? You see, right now in the U.S., there's a lot of stuff going on. And it's not just the U.S., it's a lot of countries. But the signs are abundantly clear. They mirror other signs that were seen during historical times. So let's use, for example, the times of the German Work Party. Most people are not familiar with the German Work Party. Do you know why you're not? Because the focus was always on Adolf Hitler and not the people who were behind him. You see, Hitler was never the mastermind behind the Holocaust. The German Work Party did that. Long before they found Hitler, they were already passing out propaganda about how terrible Jews were and how awful how they were the ones who were at fault for everything that was happening and going wrong in Germany. Does that remind you of anything that's going on today? Because if it doesn't, you have a really big problem and you might want to pull your head out of the sand. You see, Jesus is always here to warn us. The problem is that we're not always willing to listen. So the real question I have for you tonight is this. At what point do you choose to start listening? Because until you start paying attention to the things that he's showing you, what he's saying, the information that's being brought to you, until you start being willing to do your own research, what do you think is going to happen? There have been a lot of things happening lately that are very interesting, worldwide, not just here. The freedom of people to go in and just remove money from people's bank accounts, to freeze accounts, to stop things, has become quite prevalent. And I want you to remember that. Because the reason you have seen all of this is foreshadowing. Go see the multimillionaires like Wendy Williams, who Wells Fargo just at the word of some unknown person shut down her accounts. Pay attention to those things. Because what Jesus is doing is he's giving you a warning. You see, the best way to impact somebody is to hurt them in the pocketbook. And those people who are setting up problems, they know that. Because if they hit you in the pocketbook, guess what? They're counting on the fact that you don't have anything else that you can pull from. Because they will never just freeze one account. They'll freeze everything that has your name on it. And you want to remember that. Jesus is constantly sending people to talk to us, to tell us what's going on, to bring to our understanding the struggles and the problems and the hardships that are coming on the world. But if you're not listening, you are setting yourself up for failure. If you are looking at the things of this world and making a determination based on the things you see on this world, you're looking at the wrong thing. You're looking at the wrong person. You see, there's none good but the Father. The heart of man is desperately wicked. How many times does he have to tell you that before you stop choosing sides? There's no winning side when it comes to people. The only winning side is when it comes to Jesus. And let me explain something to you, because see, here's the thing. If I can take the Bible and make you believe that that is a religious book, then you sit back and say, I don't believe in religion. Neither did Jesus. That's why he called the Pharisees a brood of vipers and told them that they create rules that they themselves can't live by. Now, I can sit here and I can give you 1,000 different things that each of the religions has done that has brought about near death or death to people. But we're not going to cross into that, because if you're not aware of that, then you got an even bigger problem. This is not about religion. It's about taking a book that is about a king who has a kingdom, and that kingdom is earth, and saying, I think I might be in trouble. I think there might be something bigger than what I am aware of coming. How do I deal with this? And then taking that and doing something smart with it. Stop sitting back and allowing yourself to be a victim, because being a victim is a choice. And let me tell you something, that as the end of days gets closer, the only thing that people are geared to do is to destroy your hope. Because if they can take your hope, they own you. You have to understand the Bible from a very different perspective in this day and age, because it is no longer a time when you can sit back and laugh and pretend that none of this matters. This is a time when it matters. Because if you do not notice that this world is being divided, you again will miss the signs that there is trouble brewing. And it's beyond the point of brewing. It is now at the point of explosion. And if we don't look at this and understand that, then what happens? We give up. I keep trying, but it's not getting any better. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I'm not smart enough. I'm not this. I wasn't born to a wealthy family. Listen, that was all fine and Jim Dandy 40 years ago. But now, you got to start thinking differently. Now you got to start thinking strategically. You got to start understanding more and more and more about what this world is truly capable of. You know, before World War II, most people had their own farms. They had their own property. They ran businesses of their own. Not everybody ran them successfully, right? There were people who were hurting. And so the industrial age came along, and the gentlemen who really were spearheading that time period decided that it was time to bring people to work. And that's what they did. They brought people into work. And it was so much easier than having to go out and work a field and do this and do that. And let me tell you the problem with easy. With easy comes trouble. Look at everything that we have right now, all the technology that we have, and we have more people who can't read than ever before in history. Ever before. We have more families falling apart, yet you have access to everything you could ever want to know and possibly understand, and you're in a worse position? How is that possible? Because when I make things easy for you, you don't grow. You don't fight to be more. You don't fight to understand. What you do is you rest on your laurels. Oh, I'll get to it tomorrow. Oh, I'm tired. I don't want to deal with it today. I'll deal with it tomorrow. And then tomorrow never comes. So here you are in a situation where tomorrow comes and you are not prepared. And now you're wondering why things are bad. It's because you didn't prepare. Jesus has opened the door for you to see what's coming. Some of you will choose to prepare, and some of you will not. Some of you will be the 10 virgins, the 5 whose oils were completely filled and ready to go. They were prepared when it was time for the bridegroom to show up, and the other 5 got locked out because they weren't ready. The end of days is coming. You are not going to be raptured away. There is nothing that is going to prevent you from walking through this. Or Jesus would not have said, if we didn't end this early, no flesh would be saved. The fact of the matter is, times are getting ready to get super duper hard. You ain't seen nothing yet, baby. You thought COVID was bad? You better wait to see what they got planned for you coming up. And it's coming. And some of you will say, we didn't ask you for your opinion. Oh, baby, I ain't giving you my opinion. I'm telling you what the Bible's telling you and exactly what's coming. I'm reading the signs. And if you aren't willing to take the time to read those signs, then don't be crying when it comes for you, because it's coming. And it's coming quick. Start preparing and figuring out. Start fighting through the things that you think are too much. I'm tired. I'm overwhelmed. You don't have time for that. Right now, your focus is on, how do I get out of this mess? The first thing is to start putting aside something that the banks can't close down. Because remember, they are always going to go for you financially. You just need enough resources to get out of the space that you need to get away from so that you can get where you need to go and just lay low, do whatever you need to do. Figure something out. I'm not going to tell you how to do it because it depends on your situation, your specific situation. You know what you need to survive this nightmare that's coming on the earth. And we're not talking about something that's 50 years off. We're talking about, you look at in the next 10 years, baby, we got a problem, and it's already starting. When you have government officials who can sit and name call in a meeting, you got a bigger problem than you realize. Start paying attention to the signs. Understand where they're guiding you, what they're saying to you, so that you can protect you and your family. You've got to stop resting. You've got to stop playing and thinking that that's the important thing right now. It's not. You're limited on your time. Go to work. You will have time to rest if you work now. But if you keep waiting and playing, then when it's time for trouble to hit, you won't have anything stashed away. You won't have anything left for you and your family to do what you need to do to make it through what's coming. You've got to start looking at this. Jesus did not tell us, read the signs. Stop looking at the Bible right now as a religious book that it isn't, and understand that it is your guide to figure out exactly how to make it through what's coming on this earth. If you will follow the instructions in both Revelation and look at the stuff in Isaiah and Daniel and all the prophetic books, you will see that he has laid out steps that you can strategically follow to be okay through this process. He told you, listen, 10,000 are going to fall on your right, 10,000 are going to fall on your left, but not a hair on your head will be hurt. He did say that. That's a fact. But walking in that requires that you make sure that you are in a position, in a situation where you can be walking in that 10,000 fall on your right and your left. These are dark, dark times, and they are not going to get any brighter. Start creating a way for you and your family to be successful in this period. You don't have time to play. The Bible right now is your best friend. It's how you're going to survive this. And for whatever it takes, do not let anyone steal your hope. Because without hope, nothing is possible. I'll see you next week.